It's the Newsmaker show, and we have with us in this half hour Dr. Tahir Chaudrhy, a gynecologist who worked previously at the what we now refer to as the Old St. James, and he's coming to work starting today at the New St. James. Dr. Tahir Chaudrhy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, Dr. Chaudrhy, let's start out with when you were here before. Tell us about that.
Well, I'd love to. I'm a local person. I'm born and raised in Elmira, New York. My family still lives in Elmira. My dad is an anesthesiologist at the Arnott. And we were here in Hornell from 2004 to 2006. I took over Dr. Mira Chaudhry's OBGYN practice at the Old St. James. Made a lot of great friends. And had a wonderful experience during that time frame. And now I have the opportunity to rekindle some roots and restart again.
Now you're coming to St. James. You're currently in Olean. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I still have an office in Olean. I'm the chairman of the OBGYN department at Olean General. But we decided to open a satellite office here in Hornell. About 10% or so of my patients from our Olean office are originally from the greater Hornell region. We've taken care of patients for their pregnancies and gynecological problems, let alone their normal everyday activities.
Now, from what I understand, you're doing a lot of newer, cutting edge, what they call minimally invasive procedures. Tell us about that.
Yeah, everybody has their claim to fame. Some people can hit a home run. Some people can run the 100-meter dash in 4 seconds. So my golf game ain't so good, so I decided to try to figure something out. And by the grace of God, we've perfected what we call a minimally invasive cosmetic hysterectomy. I've been fortunate to learn from one of the best gynecological surgeons here in the U.S., and I'm the only person in the Northeast that's performing this cutting-edge procedure.
Okay. Now you work both in Hornell and the Olean area, but the new St. James, let's talk about that for a second if we could. Everybody's so excited about the new hospital. They talk about the Canisteo Street location, the old St. James, as we call it now, versus the new St. James. Everybody's all excited about the new St. James. You're walking into it for the first time today. How do you feel?
I'm quite excited. I've been around it. I went in it when they were building it a couple months ago just to get a lay of the land as trying to figure out what we plan on doing. At that juncture, we did not have any wherewithal that we're going to come here. I just came as a guest. And it's going to be exciting to see brand new facilities, new equipment, but most importantly, a lot of old friends that I still talk to. Some of the physicians, a lot of the nurses still are working there. And I think I'm probably more excited than they are just to see these fine people.
Speaking with Dr. Tahir Chaudrhy, who's starting at the new St. James today. Back to the minimally invasive newer procedures, doctor.
Yes, sir. I think it's neat in the sense that a lot of old school medicine has been converted to the new school, if you want to use that term. Historically, women have been undergoing surgeries since the last 100 years, but advancements have been made through minimally invasive procedures with laparoscopy, robotics, and other cutting-edge procedures. The way I look at it is this, that if it was my loved one, would they rather have a big incision and causing pain and discomfort versus very tiny incisions to do their procedures? And if a lady can get a procedure done that's going to change her life for the better and look good, wear any type of clothing without second-guessing themselves, why not? If they can get back on their feet within a couple days, we do this new type of procedure called a cosmetic hysterectomy that has been perfected over the last 2 years, where we make an incision through the umbilicus and one tiny incision very low underneath the bikini line, so it's cosmetically appealing. And when you can do a hysterectomy through 2 incisions, that is profound. Unfortunately, there's nobody here in the area that does it, and considering that it's something neat that I have ensued and pursued to get this thing squared away, patients have come in from the Rochester area, Buffalo area to Olean to do this procedure, and they're very happy. They look great. If you want to wear a bikini, you can wear one. If you don't, that's up to you. But every woman's body is perfect in various ways. So why should gynecologists go ahead and be hack artists and making them look worse, feel not so great? So my job is to do the exact opposite to that.
Infertility issues, doctor.
Yes, sir. Fertility, keep this in mind that as we get more advanced in medical treatments, infertility is something that we do diagnostic testing. We're not infertility specialists or IVF or things of that. Those people have to go to bigger centers, whether in Rochester, Buffalo, New York City. But a lot of the smaller things, workups, diagnostic surgical procedures, endometriotic surgery, things of that nature that can evaluate and ascertain can this person become pregnant. Because a lot of it's a financial issue. People don't have a lot of money to go to these high fancy specialists in bigger cities because everything is out of pocket. When you can do things that are local, and if we can get them pregnant, it will be a much easier transition for these patients instead of doling out thousands of dollars. And they get back on their feet relatively quickly. And if I can't do it or another gynecologist can't do it, then definitely you need to pursue a higher authority, as I call it.
Talking with Dr. Tahir Chaudrhy, who's working at the New St. James in Hornell, and is a gynecologist starting just today at the New St. James. Dr. Chaudhry, you were here before in 2004 to 2006.
Correct.
And now you're back. And as we said before, everybody fussing over the new hospital. The first thing you go in and you say, whether it's the medical office building or the new hospital, you say, what to the staff, what do you like better about this building? And they say the space. There's so much more room in here. I know, we have Dr. Rob Shaw and others on throughout the week, and they talk about with the COVID-19 situation, it's a lot roomier, so
Correct.
you don't have to worry about people being close to each other. Tell me, has COVID-19 affected your practice at all?
It's ironic. We did have the concerns like everybody else. I don't think in the whole scheme of things it affected our practice in the greater Olean area. But a lot of people were timid about coming out. They were concerned of sitting in an office space at close proximity to others, going to a hospital setting where, just like in Hornell and in Olean, we did have our share of COVID patients. It's the fear of the unknown, and unfortunately, we still don't know enough about COVID. But as the country slowly starts opening up with the governor giving the green light for phase 1, the president trying to encourage people to try to take precautions and get them back to normal life, I think that's what is going to be. A lot of procedures, a lot of surgeons have been a backlog because people need care. And COVID, nobody should ever think that COVID is a farce. It is real. I trained in New York City, and a lot of the same hospitals that have been hit, I worked in. And it becomes disheartening when you see environments that you frequent that were hit so badly. We here in the southern tier in western New York have been relatively safe. Hornell did have a bigger spike than some places, but it looks like it is becoming a little bit of an afterthought by looking in the community and people out and about. And on a gorgeous day, sure, but I think we still have to continue social distancing, wearing masks. But remember that medicine is ever evolving. We are learning new things, possible new treatments. A vaccine is being produced as we speak, and things are going to change, hopefully, for the better.
Talking to Dr. Tahir Chaudrhy. And you talk about Olean. I want to ask you just briefly, how did Olean do as far as COVID-19 goes?
Olean, I believe it did a really good job. Our hospital quickly clamped down on procedures. We didn't perform any surgical procedures for unnecessary reasons. Our numbers in Cattaraugus County were lower, and the spikes that we have seen are usually groups like families. The schools were closed because of the state mandate, but even when I go around our local town, which is not any different than Hornell, you walk into the Walmarts or the supermarkets, people are respectful. People are wearing masks. The stores are still not fully capacity. Restaurants are closed. Takeout is a good thing, I guess. I can tell you that I've been eating a lot more home cooking, and I'm not complaining one bit. But I think this is a new reality. Things are going to change when it comes to schools, colleges, travel. I don't know if it's a bad thing, but I think as a world we need to try to come together to find a solution. It's important not to continue finger pointing. We need to bind together and say, okay, how can we combat this? Because I hate to say it, this won't be the first pandemic that we will see as new viruses become super bugs. More and more things will start creeping out. So maybe this is a wake-up call for the world.
On the topic of schools, just kind of curious on the day-to-day thing for a gynecologist. School age, student age, high school to college students, would that be somebody that you'd normally see?
Absolutely. I always believe that there should be a transition point between the pediatrician and a gynecologist or a family practitioner that deals with a lot of ladies' care. Usually about the puberty age, 13, 14, 15, they should start venturing into the gynecological realm. We don't do any invasive exams on young ladies under the age of 21 unless there's a serious problem. So they come in for counseling, more for education, and it becomes a very difficult task for a 14, 15-year-old high school young girl to come into an office setting like ours when they see their mother's age or their grandmother's age people and saying, what am I doing here? The problem is that this is a time where if they have a problem, whether it's something minor like acne or menstrual irregularity or pelvic pain, let alone family planning, nobody ever thinks like that at a 15, 16-year-old. But if we can educate them early, explain to them on a different way, on a personal way. Kids are much more educated. But unfortunately, young adults are human. Sometimes they take unnecessary risks. Sometimes it's via peer pressure. But women are much more powerful than they give them credit for. The world is run by women. No doubt about it. I'm married. I got 3 daughters. I'm a gynecologist. I can say that with a big smile on my face that I'm very fortunate to have been influenced by tremendous women in my life. And I learn something new every day. It never ends.
We're going to take a quick break, having an interesting conversation here in this segment of Newsmaker with Dr. Tahir Chaudrhy, a gynecologist starting out today at the New St. James. Stay with us.
Hornell Partners for Growth like everyone to know that we are thinking of you and hope everyone stays safe and healthy. We are working with our district businesses to get all necessary information out that is required to ensure a safe and healthy reopening for all employees and community consumers. To stay up to date on openings, community events, Steuben County, City of Hornell, and Hornell School District information, please like and follow us on Facebook at Hornell Partners for Growth. There you'll find a list of businesses open with current hours updated weekly and posts shared from our businesses and local officials. Please stay safe and remember we appreciate your continued support to all local businesses.
Mullen Factory Direct Floor Covering has been serving this area for many years. During life's ups and downs, we've never quite experienced anything like this. There's no official day or time set for us all to go back to business as usual, but Mullins wants you to know they're there for you and your flooring projects. And it's also a good time to say thanks to all the loyal customers and remind you to support all area local small businesses to help them stay afloat during this unprecedented time. Be safe and stay healthy. From your friends at Mullen Factory Direct Floor Covering in Almond.
Maple City Savings wants the Hornell area to know they are here to assist you with your banking needs even in these uncertain times. Their ATMs are available 24/7 for withdrawals and deposits. Their drive-ups remain open for deposits, withdrawals, and loan payments during normal hours. Over the phone, they can assist with any issues related to purchases, online transactions, loan payment transfers, and debit card processing questions. Phone 607-324-1822. With online banking at MapleCitySavings.com, they offer commercial ACH transfers, bill pay, e-statements, mobile and merchant deposits, and so much more. They even offer online deposit account openings for existing and new customers. Also online, you'll be able to complete a mortgage application or request a pre-qualification so you can shop for your new home. They've been serving the local community since 1906 and are here to stay. Maple City Savings Bank, FDIC insured, and an equal housing lender.
Back on Newsmaker, I'm Brian O'Neill on with Dr. Tahir Chaudrhy, gynecologist, back in the area and here at the New St. James. Dr. Chaudhry, your office location at this point, let's talk about that.
Well, we are still trying to find a good quality space. In the meantime, we're hoping to start our office sometime in the next few weeks at 327 Seneca Road. It's Dr. Nasser Chaudhry's office. He's been a dear friend of ours and the family for many years, so he's been gracious enough to let me rent some space till we find a more permanent home. We unfortunately are not going to be able to be here every day in Hornell. Olean is still our home base, but we are going to do our best to be here throughout the next several months on a weekly basis, at least 1 or 2 days a week here. And if patients want to make appointments, we still are using the Olean office number 716-372-BABY. It's a neat way to remember the phone number. My wife is a little bit more creative, so she said, hey, you know what, let's have a number. When we established our practice years ago, people don't forget that. And it's important. I was alluding to earlier, business needs to stay home. We're all small entrepreneurs, but the hospital is also an entrepreneur. Most of the doctors here have been here for several years, but there hasn't been any significant home gynecologically based practice. And now with the Stay and Strong and a lot of big time players, including former Mayor Hogan and Dr. Ismail Mayer and a lot of other people, John Robshaw, who's a good friend of mine. All these people try to bring this hospital back to life. And it's always been a vision, even when I was part of St. James, to have something new and more lean, closer to the highway versus on the other side of town.
Really, that goes back a ways then, even before the hospital 2015-2016 situation.
This whole idea of having a new hospital isn't really new. The old St. James, albeit a big structure, was getting old and it needed a facelift. The problem is that old buildings and old structures, it costs more money sometimes to fix that versus to say, sayonara and let's have a new facility. But with other hospitals in the area, like at the Noyes and at the Jones, I guess people thought that was good enough. But Hornell it's a beautiful town. There's a lot of people here. It's on straight on I-86 or Route 17 as I call it since I was a kid. There needed to be a hospital here, and if you don't provide the service, where are people going to go? It's inconvenient. So why should you be undergoing major surgeries and procedures in Rochester when you can just do it down the street? And that's my opinion, too. People come to Olean from Hornell for me to do their deliveries and do their surgeries. St. James, the new St. James, is not performing obstetrics, but they certainly have the capacity to perform gynecological procedures, and that's where I see the future.
Dr. Tahir Chaudrhy, what you said reminded me of a situation going on 4 or 5 years ago, when the big phrase from those names you mentioned, like Sean Hogan and the local doctors, the big phrase in 2015 and 2016 was "Save Our Hospital." There were signs all over Hornell that said that. There were big meetings on it. Since then, the phrase has been "Use Our Hospital." That's what Sean Hogan and Mayor John Buckley will say when they come on. Your thoughts there?
I think it's true. It's like the movie The Field of Dreams. Build it and they will come. I guess I'm kind of dating myself about the movie.
What was that, 1990, I think?
Yeah, Kevin Costner, So
the baseball movie.
Exactly. So the whole idea is that small communities can't wither away. People think that big-time university hospitals is the only way to go. And I disagree. The level of personal care, the love that you see in smaller community hospitals, whether it's here in Western New York or in the middle of Kansas, it is crucial to our communities. If everything is outsourced to bigger university centers, then what's the point? It doesn't make sense. There are certain things that need to be sent other places, like transplant surgery, neurosurgery, cardiac surgery. Higher levels of care, we can understand that. But with all due respect, the bread and butter procedures, whether it's in general surgery, urology, gynecology, orthopedics, this was a mainstay for many years in all these hospitals. So why can't we reestablish the roots and continue encouraging other doctors, other providers to utilize the hospital, use the resources, use the doctors, the nurses who are trying to do their level best to make things better in our community.
We've been speaking with Dr. Tahir Chaudrhy, gynecologist, coming back to the area at the new St. James. You could see him at, was it 327 Seneca Road? And if you need to call him, the number 716-372-BABY.
That is right. And hopefully once we have a permanent home, we'll have another interesting phone number as well.
Dr. Chaudrhy, thank you for coming in.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.